Hi, I am your host, Lyanette Talley, and you are listening to Virago 24/7. Virago is Latin for female warrior, and 24/7 is for all day, every day. Virago 24/7 is a weekly podcast that brings diverse women together to talk about life and our experiences in this world. We share our views on self-love, mental health, marriage, children, friendships, and really anything that needs to be talked about. Here, you will find everyday growth, everyday healing with everyday warriors. Just give me my space to move. 'Cause it's my thoughts, what I want, and I want what I want. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Virago 24/7. I am Lyanette Talley. I noticed that I don't introduce myself. I just assume people know who I am. Like, I was thinking back on past shows, and I'm like, do I even say my name? I'm Lyanette Talley, and we have today Jenna Walston.
Hello there.
Hola. We are talking about love again. For those who heard last week's show, we talked about self-love and what that really truly means for us personally. And we're going to continue that conversation because we're in the month of love. And Jenna brought some great reading material to bring to the show, and I would love to share it. I'm going to start off by reading a passage from this book that I've never heard about, so I'm going to read it now that Jenna has introduced me to it. It's called Only Love Today, Reminders to Breathe More, Stress Less, and Choose Love. And it's by Macy Stafford. So, and I believe this is chapter 6 from her book. What would love do? I ask myself as I look in the mirror and start picking myself apart. Love would look past the reflection and say, look how far I've come. Love would say, I'm grateful for another day. What would love do when my growing child comes down the stairs wearing an angry scowl? Love would open its arms and say, getting up is hard, I know. Love would hold its tongue. Love would give a little more time and a little extra grace. What would love do when it's obvious my spouse forgot to do something important? Love would take a deep breath and then say, it's okay. I forget things too. Love would see all the things he remembers and thank him for that. What would love do when ugliness fills my newsfeed, stands behind me grumbling in line, or cuts me off in traffic? Love would not join in. Love would negate it by being kind to the coworker with sad eyes or helping the neighbor with heavy burdens. What would love do when finances, commitments, duties, and demands make it hard to breathe? Love would lower the bar. Love would let something go. Love would ban the phrase, I should, and say, good enough for today. What would love do when hate-filled words and cliques build barriers that keep people out? Love would look for the lonely, excluded, and alienated. Love would reach out a hand and say, come as you are. There's a place for you here. Today, I want to look like love. I want to sound like love. I want to speak like love. Too often, I look like worry, impatience, and agitation. I'd rather look like love. Too often, I sound like arrogance, selfishness, and greed. I'd rather sound like love. Too often, I'm all about productivity, efficiency, and time management. I'd rather be all about love. It's not easy. Choosing love takes time, effort, thought, patience, and self-control. But the payoff is huge. Choosing love for myself and for those in my path means a better morning, a brighter outlook, a deeper connection, a softer place to lay my head at night. I can be anything today. I'm going to be love. How about you? Thank you, Jenna.
Ooh, is that not beautiful?
Thank you, Jenna, for giving me this chapter of the book that I've never heard of. Like, holy crap.
Good stuff.
And that's what we're trying to do with our kids.
That's what I am doing with my kids.
Yes.
I am past trying.
Well, I'm still,
We're doing.
Listen, my natural being is to be impatient, is to be a pessimist, is to go, is to do, because this is how it's always been done, and I did it, so you get over it. that's how I used to parent. And some of my kids don't respond well to that because that's not their language. That's not what they need to motivate them. And I had to really learn to speak their language. And it's been hard because, and you're like me, right, Jenna? We're just naturally just
get things done.
Aggressive? I don't know what words to use to describe.
I can be bluntly honest about us. We like to be in charge and we like things done efficiently and we like them done our way. Yeah. In our time.
Yes.
That's been my challenge and I believe it's been yours too. But I think we've done a great job recognizing it, making some changes to it. Sure, I still am like, rah! Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. But I'm more aware of why. Where before it was just always like, just so stressed because you and I both have 3 children. And it's a lot to handle. Yeah. But after you read that, the one that really stuck with me was coming down the stairs and,
having that attitude.
Having that, I know it's rough, come get me a hug, baby, rather than get back up there and change your attitude.
Fix your face.
Fix your face, right? Yeah. So I was sharing with you as we were talking about all of this, how we're in big change in our home. We have no other choice because I get to be in charge now, which is so liberating. Yeah. But they're not used to me being in charge. They're used to hearing me and it goes in one ear and out the other. I've had to choose the easy road a lot of times because I just didn't have the energy to do it the right way, I guess. But last week, I joined in on my kids' therapy appointments because I'm having a hard time communicating with them. One of them didn't want to go because they think they're fine. And therapy is a bad thing or something. I don't know, because there is a negative tone to it. Like, I'm fine. Yeah. And also, it doesn't matter, boys, shove it down. Yes. So he was like, I don't need to go. And I said, well, I need to go because I want to have a better relationship with you and I want to support you. I mean, you're going on 15. Like, these are very important years of growth and your brain hasn't fully developed. And I want to be part of that. So we went in and boy, did he call me out. You know, this boy has constantly made me a better human. I went in first and then he went in and then we joined each other. And he basically was just like, I'm just sick and tired of the yelling. There's 3 girls in our house. Our house, you know how open and loud it is.
Yeah, he's the only boy.
He's the only boy. He's just, and he's a lot, you know, just too many girls, too much noise, too much chaos for him.
A lot of emotions with girls.
But what he finished up with was he is tired of the fact that I'm constantly saying, we are not going to do this anymore. We're going to make changes. And then I don't have consistency. I don't make it happen.
You talk about it, but you're not about it. You don't be about it.
I love to talk. But the follow through is challenging for me because we're all very emotional right now. Some days I can handle it and other days I'm just like, you know what, just get out of my face. You know, go ahead and get on your games, which I know causes more problems down the road. I'm guilty of that. But just the fact that we sit and talk and then when we leave there, we're connected. And he sees that therapy is a great thing. Because when I sat down with him a couple of days, he goes, why are you talking to me like this? I've never heard you talk to me like, and he was like looking at me like, has she been drinking? What is up with her?
Why is she so calm? Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm talking different because that therapy session changed me. I don't want to yell at you anymore. I don't want to be angry anymore. And she told me it was okay to tell you, you may not treat me like this, although you witnessed it and you saw it happen repeatedly and me go on with life. It may no longer be that way. Part of why our family is no longer together. So it was eye-opening. And he looked at me and I said, I take you seriously, man. When you say you need consistency, I'm here for you, but you have to get up and do it. Yeah. I'm not begging you. I'm not pleading. You know, I will take away your phone. I will take away everything. You know, this is a gift. Yeah. So I'm proud of myself right now because I have a thing that I call a tool bag in life. You have your tools. I have my tools. Some may be similar. Mm-hmm. You may have ones that I wish I had and vice versa. Or you may have tools in your bag that are broke.
Yeah.
They're outdated. Mm-hmm. They don't work anymore.
They were given to us by our parents.
Yes.
They're old
hand-me-downs.
rusty tools. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have gotten rid of the tools that don't work for me any longer. Mm-hmm. And I have implemented new tools. And I'm just so proud of myself. And it feels good to say I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the work I'm doing for myself and for my children. And I'm going to break our generational curse in my family. You know, where you treat your loved ones totally different than you treat people outside of the house. I will not be part of that. I will only honor love.
Yeah.
You know, I'm human. I'm going to get angry. I am going to snap and break.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when Jaden said it was 2-3 times a day, it shocked me because I was like, but I've been doing so good. But sadly, 2-3 times a day is doing really good.
Yeah.
I'm loud. You know me.
Yeah.
I'll be like, Jaden!
Yes.
What are you doing? And it just feels good. It feels comfortable.
Oh my
that's
God.
how we were raised.
Yep.
So no more, I'm from New York. It's more, I have gathered tools.
You're from New York. I'm Puerto Rican.
Like, we're allowed to be loud.
That's why we're loud.
And rude.
Yeah. No, it's true. I'm like, I'm just Puerto Rican. This is how we talk. And I mean, yeah, granted, we can talk like that, but we have to have both. It's a balance.
Yes.
They still have to see us as human beings as well.
They have to see how we handle
but
our
we're
anger.
trying.
Yes.
Yeah, we're trying. And also the yelling, I think I was talking to, Philip. When we call them, like when we're like, hey, come down. It can't always be negative either. So I was like, let's try to balance it where it's not, they need to be doing something. That's why we're calling them. Oh. Like sometimes we have to call them and it could be something positive. Fun. Yeah. Or something, you know, that they're not expecting. Cause I know growing up for me and, anytime my name was called, I'm like, oh shit, what did I do again?
I remember you saying
what did I do now? Like it was never, hey, come give me a hug or, oh my gosh, I heard you did this wonderful thing. It was always like, it was always negative. And it's like, I didn't want to hear my name. I didn't want to be called because it was always going to be negative. And so I'm trying to do differently with our house where when we call them, it's not to just bombard them with shisa, with crap and negativity.
Shame.
So, yeah.
Shaming them is what we do.
So balancing that too is what I'm trying to do.
Wonderful.
And I mean, this whole love thing goes outside of our children too. I mean, it's our friendships, our marriages, our family dynamics with siblings and parents. And that's hard. Like you just said, we treat our loved ones a little bit more, we scrutinize them a little bit more than we would.
With less grace.
Yeah, yeah. For me, it's like, and I think I've said this before in other shows where I feel like, okay, I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to change. I'm trying to be a bigger person. What about everyone else? Like, why do they get to be who they are and continue that? And my mindset has shifted because I'm like, I feel sorry for people that aren't trying to change, that think they're just perfect the way they are.
Yeah.
That blame everyone else for their issues, that blame everyone else for their broken friendships, relationships, whatever. I'm like, I stopped comparing myself to them. And I'm like, I'm glad I'm changing. I'm glad I'm growing. I'm glad I'm learning. I'm glad I'm trying to do different by my kids, by my husband. Remember last week when I talked about our argument and I was called into the principal's office?
What happened?
It was good. Like, it didn't start off well. But I truly feel like I've changed so much in how I argue or fight or whatever you want to call it. I always was throwing stuff from the past and I didn't do that this time. And the way he was conversing with me, he was still treating me like how I would normally handle arguments. He's like, well, in the past, I'm like, what part of the past did I bring into this argument? Well, you didn't, but in the past you would normally. So he was like on the defensive, already trying to act like like I was already going to do something.
I already know what you're going to say. Yeah.
And it started off not so good. I'm going to tell you, Jenna, it was not good. And he almost left because he's like, this is going around in circles. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. Because you're not listening to me. No, you're not listening to me. And so finally we both calmed down. I'm like, you're treating me like I'm arguing the way I used to.
Give me a chance.
I'm like, I know that I have to be consistent, but gosh damn, like you're bringing stuff up that I didn't even do. I'm not even acting the same way. I'm not arguing the same way. So I'm like, I agree with everything you're saying. I agree that I handled it poorly, he is all about being taken for granted. And I think in that argument that we had last week, he felt like I was taking him for granted, that I was making decisions without him, blah, 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 those things. And I'm like, and I get that, but I'm letting you know, I want you to see that I handled it differently. Mm-hmm. So anyways, we worked it out. We're all lovey-dovey again. But yeah, it's just, it's frustrating when you're trying to change and then you're not being seen for changing. So it's going to be good. Just consistency. That's the word. That is the word that you used. And that's the word that that's what we have to follow is be consistent. Yeah. And then people will see that, okay, they're not going back to their old ways.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But damn, I'll say it again and again every time we talk about improving ourselves. It's hard. It's really, really hard. So it's worth it though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't change it for anything.
No. So you also shared some, like, I know we touched a little bit on it last week in our last show about what we say to ourselves.
How we speak.
Yeah, how we speak to ourselves, what we say, the battle within us. And okay, so and see here. There's a few things. I'm not going to go through every single one, but what are your favorite ones? You think, Jenna?
So these are core belief clusters. They're developmental plateaus. Mm-hmm. And there is survival, responsibility, vulnerability, and PTSD, like trauma from childhood or adult onset trauma. So we won't go through them all, but just a few of them, because I know we all talk poorly to ourselves, especially when we're in situations where we're reevaluating and trying to make change.
Yes.
So rather than saying I am abandoned, a great thing to switch that to is I can survive, exist, and get my needs met. You just have to shift. It's almost like, to me, putting out into the universe what you need. Like if you speak negative thoughts, you will find negative things.
Yes.
If you speak positively to yourself, you will start to believe it over time. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be the first time. You may get sick of it after the second time and think this is bullshit, but trust me, if you stick to it, it works.
It's
especially
true.
If you have been emotionally abused, where you are just starting from bottom, trying to build back up, reassess who you are. Let's do a few more. Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm a failure. Instead of saying that, I did the best I could.
Oh my gosh. Right.
I love that one.
Yeah. I have to be in control.
Yeah.
We know nothing about that.
Not at all.
I can recognize what I can and cannot control, which we always talk about is the circle of control. A great example, let's pause and just touch on this for a second. With my children, teaching them about the circle of control is something I wish a simple thing like that was taught to me as a child. How many years, relationships, could we have just saved ourselves so much pain and misery because they're supposed to be like this and why don't they do it my way? What the fuck? Pick up the pace. All those things. Yeah. When we were trying to control loved ones around us or friends around us, or when we could have recognized that they are their own being and what agitates me about them would be something totally different than agitates them about me,
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. But Jaden, in particular, was talking about not feeling like he's good, with a certain subject. Like, oh, I'm good. I've got this, And the therapist said, Jaden, I really, number one, appreciate your honesty. But number two, the fact that you can recognize your circle of control. You didn't get upset that that person is doing something to hurt you. You recognize you can't get upset because you can't control them from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Tools.
Yeah.
That I wish I had, right?
Yep.
Now, step 2, though. But where are the feelings to that? Where are the feelings, Jaden? This person is someone you should count on. This person is someone, that you should be looking up to. And where are those feelings to that?
Mm-hmm.
Aha. That's another problem.
Where do they go?
He doesn't want to handle them.
Yeah.
They'll hurt. That's why we say doing this work is hard.
So step 1 is understanding I can't control this person. But step 2 is like, what do I do with these
processing the feelings, owning them, putting words to them. Like we say, when you tell your story, as we do, it heals us, I feel.
Yeah.
When I get done talking here, I feel like it's one of my most productive days.
Yeah. Like we've done therapy.
Girl.
Yeah.
I should start paying you.
No, it feels therapeutic to get it off.
It is.
Get it off your chest. So what did she say to do? Like, what are we supposed to do with those feelings?
I don't know. We ran out of time.
Oh, damn it.
I know. And she looked at the clock, too.
Oh, damn it.
But she thanked Jaden for allowing me to come. And she thanked him for showing up and expressing how he feels. And I think these teenagers, especially, are very confused. Their hormones are up. They're down. Good Lord, I don't want to know all the stuff that's happening with them right now.
Yeah.
But it's hard, as it is. So as long as we can keep giving them these tools to deal with it, I think they're going to be in great shape.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So.
This one, I liked. It says, I should have done something. And instead, we should tell ourselves, I did what I could.
Ooh, yeah.
That was a huge one for me because I like to go back to the past, and I'm trying not to be that person, damn it. But go back to the past. I shoulda, coulda, woulda done something differently. And it's like, no, like, if I didn't have the tools, what was I going to do? I did what I could. And that one is huge for me because I always go back and shoulda, coulda, would myself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so true. When I went to Arizona, and I talked about this in one of my shows about my experience there, because we went to a wellness retreat, and one of the classes that I took, she was all about this, about changing our perspective, changing what we tell ourselves.
Verbiage.
Yeah, and it's so huge. Like, you don't realize. Man, I can sit in my negative thoughts. I don't do that as much anymore, but in the past, I can sit in it for days and wallow and woe is me. And then everyone around me is like, what the hell is wrong with mom? And it's like, who wants to be around someone like that? And that was me, like negative Nancy, just all in my feelings. But once I've learned, and I'm not perfect at it, but like you said, if you put positivity out there, it comes back. It does. These people that are always like, oh, I have bad luck and all the bad things happen to me and blah, 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 blah. Yes, shit does happen. But a lot of times you're making poor decisions, and then you're thinking that the world is against you and that the universe is against you and that all the bad things happen to me. I'm like, no, you're just making shitty ass decisions. When shitty stuff was happening to me, I was making really bad decisions. Period. I couldn't blame anyone but myself, but it's hard to blame yourself because
it's easier to blame everybody
Oh,
else.
of course.
Absolutely.
Because then if you look if you blame yourself, then you have to change yourself, Yeah. So my gosh, this speaking positive to yourself is huge for me because I am, like I said, a negative Nancy. I don't know where I got it. You're Miss Positivity and Sunshine, and I'm like critical and pessimistic by nature. I don't want to be that person, but that's the core of who I am.
Okay, so another thing that really helped me yesterday, and I'd like to share, is a sweet friend in my circle that I just always look up to sent me a text, and she said, watch something that stopped me in my tracks. Instead of looking at past trauma as pain to continue carrying, look at it through a different lens. He said, if you look at it, wow, I survived that. Look at how strong I can be. That the trauma is a gift to unlock your full potential. I thought that it was interesting perspective. I always believe in attitude of gratitude, but never thought to show gratitude to the bad things for helping me recognize my strength. And with the situation I'm in right now, it's painful. Every day, my heart is heavy at some point throughout the day. Every day, I could choke up and cry. I'm still in the very accepting stage, I guess. So when she sent this to me, I thought, you're goddamn right. That was hell. And I'm here. And I'm standing. And my future looks fucking bright that I'm going sunglass shopping this weekend.
I love that.
I'm serious. Like, my future is bright.
Yeah.
This took a long time for me to get here. It took so long, and it's not the outcome that I envisioned. I envisioned I can't live without you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't lose my family. You guys are the most important. These are the dreams we tell ourselves. So sometimes you have to be careful with putting positive words in your head and not seeing the truth for what it is. You know, that's that positive painting with Patty, Jenna. You know, let's look on the bright side. He's not an ass 10% of the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And that's just being, you know, over the top. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, it's a very fine line. But learning to love ourselves, I think, is such a beautiful thing. And I'm happy I've done it with you. We've seen each other through,
we have.
So many different levels, and I couldn't be more grateful for you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And we're gonna continue on this journey. Yeah. Gosh damn it.
Thank you for always having me on the show.
Well, I love having you.
I appreciate it.
You'll be a permanent fixture.
You keep saying that.
Well, I mean,
I keep showing up. You're like,
do.
I don't know, but I'm on my way.
No, I think we have great conversations, and with you, you know, in the thick of things right now, and going through therapy, you can really touch a lot of people and teach us.
Yeah.
Your ways.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And you just never know who else is out there going through the same thing and listening to your words and listening to your experience.
And why we end up in the positions we're in, you know?
Yeah.
It's quite eye-opening. And I'm excited to share. But more importantly, I'm excited to love myself and enjoy the latter half of my life.
Yes.
Yeah. It'll be cool.
It's going to be amazing.
All right, girl.
All right. Well, thank you, love. And as always, I love having you here, and we're going to keep doing this.
Love yourself.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Virago 24/7. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and please give us 5-star ratings. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Virago 24_7 and on Facebook at Virago 24/7. And just connect with us and share your story. We'd love to hear from you.